order. I will declare quorum. Do we have any members of the board on the phone?
Lacey Gentry is here.
Anyways. All right. That said, it's called a meeting to order. Ms. Jackson, you mind opening this up?
No. Good morning, everyone. If you will, please bow your heads to prayer.
Most gracious Father, thank you for another beautiful day. We're glad to be in the midst of everyone that's here. We want you to please put your arms of protection around everyone on this planet, those that are suffering for unnecessary means. Father, please bless everyone across the nation. Also make sure that we as a panel understand why we're here and do the very, very best that we've been assigned to do. You have a phrase in your scriptures that says, let the work I do speak for me. We're going to do all that we can do to make you proud of us. With every breath that we all take, most Heavenly Father, I'd like to say amen.
You have the updated agenda in front of you. There will be one addition at the bottom. We'll vote on nominating committee for officers today. With that said, any other changes, have a motion to approve the agenda. Motion TJ, second. Second. Jeremy. All in favor? Open forum. Ms. Crawford.
Yes, good morning. How are you all today?
We have to sit up here at the mic.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Amanda Crawford, and I'm here representing the Mississippi Nurses Foundation. I am new to this role as the executive director, successor to Rosalind Howard, who did a phenomenal job leading the foundation for the past many, many years. But just wanted to stop by, say hello, introduce myself, let you know that the foundation is still going strong, and we're here to support you and your work and the many, many nurses that are serving our great state of Mississippi. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to say hello. You're a familiar face. And I see one of our board members, Melissa Temple, is on the call this morning as well. But we just wanted to say hello. Let us know how we can support y'all, work with you. I hope to have the opportunity to spend some time with each of you individually as I'm learning the field. Have worked in the nonprofit space in Mississippi for a little over 20 years, but learning a new language as it relates to the field of nursing. But we're excited to partner with y'all in any way that we possibly can. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and enjoy your Friday. Thank you.
Any other members of the public?
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say members of the public.
Oh, just if anybody wants to address or say anything. Okay. And one make a note, I just got a text from Melissa King is on the call as well. Linda. Dr. Burks. Are you doing yours?
Yes.
Oh, okay, she's doing
Let me
it.
pull it up. Sorry. I was over here taking my notes. So, Mr. President, I'm going to give you a report on ONW as of right now. So we do have a lot to put out today. As far as ONW, the advisory committee, there will be 5 members rolling off as of June 30th. And 1 position had never been filled. A total of 6 positions are to be filled for the fiscal year 2023. I know that in our advisory meeting, we did put it out there. It will be advertised on the website, to my knowledge. So it has been put out there. Also, the ONW director position is still currently vacant, but with the state personnel board made some changes to the job description, and they had to be revised. And so we've done that. ONW projects and partnerships. We have just completed the American Heart webinar series, Battling Burnout, which was done on December 8th, and Supporting the Whole Patient was completed on December 15th of 2021. The next item was UMMC and reducing health disparities post-COVID through strengthening our communities. was completed on March 8th of 2022. The third item, Moden / Let's Make the Extra Mile routed, was completed March 31st, 2022. And then the fourth item is Natty, Mississippi Chapter Training Conference will be held on April 21st, 2022. The final thing we needed to do an update on was the USDA grant update. On March 10th, Shan met with Mr. Wilbur to discuss the project. He shared that the project was in good standing and that we have 3 years to complete the scope of work. Some financial reporting and equipment reporting were due on March 31st. Currently, we have 3 schools that have not completed their in-kind, which we are going to be following on, and the bids for the grant are out, and a vendor will be selected according to the contract review.
I don't think there's any action items, so we can move on. Board business. Have a motion that we accept the minutes from the February 11th, 2021 meeting.
I make a motion.
Motion from Ms. North Johnson. Second. Jack. All in favor? Agree 7 proposal minutes, except those from December 2021.
Make a motion.
Motion from Ms. North Johnson, second, Jeremy Cummings. All in favor? Have a motion, we waive the reading of the names on motions. Motion TJ, second. Second, Jeremy, all in favor? All right, future meeting. Read sample proposal, June 7th, 2022, disciplinary hearing, June 8th, 9th, 2022, and business meeting, June 10th, 2022. Panels at that time, we Ms. Shirley Jackson, Ms. Nancy Oss Johnson, Ms. Lacey Gentry, Dr. Melissa King. Great, you're on cue.
We forgot the LPN.
Right,
Practical nursing, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
sorry. So we'll back up and get that, sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. President, I have 3 items to bring before the board today. The first is Cahill Healthcare Training Facility. They submitted a proposal request to teach the IV therapy expanded role course. That course coordinator will be Ms. Latasha King. Their preceptors meet the requirements as outlined for serving preceptors. Their proposed plan also include utilizing the curriculum as outlined by the Board of Nursing. I toured their facility on March 31st, 2022. Their equipment supplies are available. Their clinical site, Jefferson County Hospital, is in place. They have good support, and they provided their affiliation agreement. My recommendation is that they be allowed to offer the 80-hour IV therapy course in accordance with the following requirements. The course coordinator meet with the director of practical nursing programs prior to admitting the first class to review the curriculum, course outline, expectations, and et cetera. In addition, for them to provide an annual report regarding the program's outcome of the IV therapy course class, and that will be done yearly, October the 15th. The second item I have is from Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. They resubmitted a proposal to offer a medical assistant to a practical nursing program. That proposed program will be evenings and weekends on a hybrid option. They've included some additional skills, Foley insertion, trach care, wound care to their adult health course. And that information came from surveys throughout their partnerships. Their department chairs and coordinators will be responsible for vetting the applicants' transcripts. They will only accept applicants from non-proprietary accredited institutions. If an individual graduated from a program out of state, that program must meet the same or exceed the educational content required as described by MCCB's curriculum. And also those programs must be outlined as a 1 or 2 year program and they've received either a career certificate or an Associate of Applied Science degree. And all that falls in alignment with what is required by the Community College Board curriculum. There's an outline of the courses that they've submitted in terms of the clock hours, the lab hours, and their testing methodology for this particular program. My recommendation is that since they've gone back and done some revisions, that they be allowed the opportunity to offer the program, but offer the program as a pilot program because that will fall in alignment to what has been done for programs in the past. that their lab and clinical be offered on a face-to-face format only. They provide a status update to the Mississippi Board of Nursing at the end of the first semester. They also will provide the Mississippi Board of Nursing an outcome status report, and that will include the number of students that were admitted to the cohort, the number of completers, their graduation rate, their NCLEX PN pass rate, and a readmit plan for non-completers 6 months after the initial class graduated. My last item is from Concord Career College. Their site visit was held February the 16th through the 18th of 2022. And the purpose was to clarify, amplify, and verify information submitted by Concord Self-Study and their proposal to qualify for the initial accreditation, which is stage 2. The site visit team consisted of Dr. Dixon, the Dean of Health Science at Coahoma, Dr. Christy Blair, Division Chair, PN, Holmes Community College, and Dr. Lisa Pearson, the Director of Itawamba Practical Nursing Program. The outcome of the visit is detailed in a report that has been attached. And looking at standard 1 in governance, they did not meet that standard. Standard B, faculty and staff, they did not meet that standard. Standard C, students, they met that particular standard. Standard D, curriculum, it was not met. Standard E, resources, was met. Standard F, outcomes, that was not met. My recommendation is that they be denied the opportunity to continue with the stage 2 of the application for initial accreditation. At this point, they may not admit students, that they be given an opportunity to revise and resubmit the self-study to reflect corrections of standards and criteria that were found to be non-compliant. The revised self-study must be received within 6 months of the date of denial. If Concord's application of stage 2 expires or if withdrawn, Concord may reapply by starting the entire process, beginning with stage 1, declaration of intent, and this will include all fees, forms, information, and etc. That is the end of my recommendations.
Dr. Burks, let's take these one at a time.
Okay.
First, IV therapy. Any questions on that? Have a motion, we approve the IV therapy course.
We're all in favor of
Go ahead.
it.
Let's go down the line. Dr. Stewart made a motion, seconded by Clinton, all in favor. Okay, so now let's skip and we'll go down to the Concord denial of accreditation. Does anybody have any questions about that? Have a motion, we approve that. Motion, Dr. Stewart, second. Clinton, all in favor? Now, let's open the conversation. Do you have any on the MA to PM? That's what's talking.
Oh.
I think it was, it was 3 things, IV therapy, MA to PN, and Concord. I skipped MA to PN because I had the most conversation last time, so I'll come back to it. Is there any conversation about that? Or have everybody's angst been eased by the modifications? All right, well, with that said, let's use my thought. Have a motion to approve the program. Sandra made a motion, Dr. Stewart second, all in favor? Motion. All right. Cool.
Thank you.
There you go. Ready? We're ready. Oh, and would like to make one more note for the record. Laura Moore has attended.
Good morning. I was about to check my clock. It's legislature's only been gone 10 days, so I'm trying to get my nights and days back in order. Sonny died, I believe it was April the 5th, Tuesday at about almost 7:30 in the evening. So it was pretty intense. The session really went about a week longer than normal. Most people at the Capitol thought they would have been gone about a week before they did, but they had a lot on their plate. The ARPA funding became we have one of our board members whose son's nice young man, William, works in the legislative budget office. I'm sure he can related to you, the stories of all the moving parts of putting the budget together, particularly with this influx of federal money that kind of complicated it. I also want to say congrats to those board members that got confirmed by the Senate. I guess I can't remember exactly, Shan, would we have 5 maybe? There were several of you that went through the committee and then got approved by the full Senate. So I'm glad. Without going after anyone in particular, in past administrations, that has not always been a slam dunk. Just logistically getting our members up and get them appointed. So I do commend the governor's office and the Senate for working together to get that done for us. Our legal counsel here knows about de facto holdover board members. We didn't want to go down that path, although we have before. Real quickly, I could sit here and say a whole lot. There's a lot. The big issues were, of course, reduction of state income tax, medical marijuana, our favorite topic, it seems, legislative redistricting, which is very important to the members. They're fighting for their political future, and the appropriation of ARPA funds. Those were kind of the overarching. Of course, you had teacher pay raises kind of wrapped in that as well. So that took a lot of oxygen up. Having said that, there were several bills that I think the nursing profession, the board had an interest in, and I'll just quickly mention some of those. Of course, we talked about it. Senate Bill 2178 was our full practice authority bill, which would basically just remove those, the requirement of the collaboration agreements. There was a lot of work and effort put in by our various nursing profession associations. Of course, the board was supportive of our nursing professionals of all classifications, particularly the APRNs, obviously involving this. While, it came down to basically the afternoon before deadline day, we were hopeful that something was going to come out. It did not. We're going to continue to work on that issue. We've got a lot of support. I think if we can get it to a vote, whether it be in the committee and certainly on the floor, I think we have a really good opportunity to pass the bill. So we're going to keep working on that. Medical cannabis, I'm not going to say a whole lot. I think we all know Department of Health is working diligently. I think they've probably got a draft. They're kind of putting all that together. They're going to be the primary regulatory agency along with the Department of Revenue on the tax side. I'm not going to steal too much of Miss Montgomery's thunder here, but in our budget, and thanks to Shan and Phyllis and the staff proposing it, we've got a pen that was approved strictly for marijuana regulation of our professionals that may be dispensing, and I think that was an important thing, and we got that in our budget bill, appropriation bill. And I talked about these bills before. We had a bill, House Bill 1196, that was concerning about potentially limiting the authority of the board in certain cases where people had maybe felony convictions and things of that nature. We're already subject to the Fresh Start Act, so we felt like that was already in place. This could have been something that could have potentially been possibly more restrictive on you and reviewing licensees and the board or the agency dealing with licensee. That we had the nurses removed from that bill. In fact, I think that bill, ultimately died. I had a couple of House Bill 673, 674 that dealt with medical licensure. The 674 in particular dealt with the Medical Practice Act. And there was a provision in there that was concerning to a number of professionals, nursing professionals, about what the impact of that language might be. But neither of those bills passed. So here's one that I think is really important for us. House Bill 1005, y'all heard about the loan forgiveness program. It's technically called the Nursing and Respiratory Therapy Education Incentive Program. Basically says, if you commit to stay in Mississippi for 5 years, that you can be basically, your loan obligation can be turned into basically a grant for education. Of course, that's an incentive with our nursing shortage to bring people back in to the profession and try to work our numbers up. You guys know, and I know some of you've talked to deans and directors. That's not going to just snap your fingers and happen overnight, but at least it puts in place something that may be a real incentive for folks to come into our profession. I think there was $6 million allocated in that program for the loan forgiveness. That's House Bill 1005. There was a bill, Senate Bill 2028, which just provided, I think it was $25 million for potential hospital expanded capacity. God forbid we have another pandemic or things that occur. It just allows some of the hospitals to kind of get more up to speed and have the ability to expand their capacity. So we all know that was a huge issue with COVID that we just, that wasn't Mississippi, that was everywhere. The other bill I wanted to mention was House Bill 1509. Got kind of politically charged, but it was dealing with vaccines and stating that state or local governments cannot mandate someone to take a vaccine. And now for healthcare facilities, there seems to be a little bit more requirement in that a facility can make reasonable accommodations for those that are not vaccinated, but the underlying purpose is to make sure that we're protecting the workers, the employees in that facility. But there's also a religious exemption in there that can be claimed for both public and private sector employees. So wanted to mention that to you. Senate Bill 2735 quickly is they did a pilot program to come up with 5 freestanding emergency rooms in the state, primarily rural areas. There'll be criteria set up that you can't be closer than 15 miles to another hospital that has an ER. It's just kind of an access to emergency care issue. This bill was passed. I think they put a short repealer in it, so they'll come back and take another look at it. But there again, going back to access to health care is part of that. Shan's aware of this bill, but Senate Bill 2810 deals with telework for state employees. During COVID, by necessity, we had to accommodate and people had to work remotely. And some of it was very effective, I think. It really was. And so this bill is just going to allow the State Personnel Board to promulgate rules and regulations to allow the agencies some ability to continue that if it makes sense, if it's justified, and if it meets the guidelines and regulations of the State Personnel Board. So that's more of an agency issue. That's got a 1-year repealer in it. And of course, House Bill 1587 was our appropriation bill. I think we were above LBR. I think we did well there. Thank you to Shan Montgomery and our executive director, Ms. Phyllis Johnson, and a number of staff people with input working to keep this agency funded at a level where the board can direct policy and the agency can do its day-to-day, carry out its responsibilities. So I think we did well there. But in a fast nutshell, that's kind of where we are. Are there any questions from the board members? Yes.
If I may. I have, thank you, Trey, but I have to say this. I usually don't like to speak, but I have to say Trey worked Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, every day on that appropriation bill, keeping us up to date, informed. So thank you, Trey.
Thank you, Shan.
We do groundwork here, but we could not do what we do without you being on the ground over there. So
I appreciate it. Means a lot to me personally because I do take it very seriously and it's personal to me. Sound like I'm quoting the Goodfellas or something, but it is. It means something. And the other reason Shan remembered, I felt guilty because what are you doing, Shan? Well, I was about to go to sleep, but no, she's always wonderful. But it'd be like 10 o'clock on Friday night, Shan. But anyway, I appreciate Shan always being accessible, Phyllis, and even the individual board members. And I think you folks know this, especially the ones that have been on the board. If you ever have a question or need anything about anything, just feel free to call me on my phone. Shan can attest. I answered Alton, I'm pretty good about taking my calls day or night. But anyway, thank y'all for the opportunity to represent the board, and I'll be around if you have any other questions. Thank you.
So, Shan, are you filling in for the report? Okay, so we'll come back to that. If you want to do that. Basically, is that her? Okay. We'll come back to that one, give her a little bit of time to get here. She had to speak at an event and was trying to get back, so she's en route to come give a report. So we'll go down to committee reports. Executive committee, we do have 2 administrative denials. Case number 2021-0791 and case number TIER-Q1R3ER. All in favor of approving the administrative denials? That is all from the executive committee. Compliance committee.
Mr. President, I have 2 matters to move forward to the board. I move that the board adopt the compliance committee's recommendation that the following affidavits, formal recommends be accepted for ratification. License number P338030. I move that the board adopt the compliance committee's recommendation to approve the following course topics presented to the committee to be included in the updated course topic guide approved by the committee. And documented here a number of those, and welcome anyone who'd like to look at those. There were a few added, which I think will help us out.
Any questions? If not, I have a motion to committee. All in favor? Motion carries. Advanced practice.
Nothing to.
Nothing. Okay. Nothing comes from
Mr.
advanced
President, we
practice.
don't have anything to bring forward.
Thank you. Practice committee.
Mr. President, we don't have any motions, but just to tag on to what TJ reported from the compliance committee. The practice committee went through that list of courses. Dr. Barks and her team gave us an outline of what's included. And so they're organizing that so they're easily accessible online, and appreciate their work on that effort.
Administrative code.
Nothing to bring forward.
All right, and move down to finance.
Yes, thank you. So you all have your finance reports in your packets. Lovely. All right. I want to hit some highlights, and then if you have questions, you can certainly bring those forward. The expenditures, looking at year to date, we are at $3,130,234. Expenditures for February, $254,027. They are a little bit higher this year than they were this time last year, and that's primarily due to because we're back at work and COVID restrictions have been lifted. And let me just say that although we are a little bit higher than we were last year, we are only at 60% of our budgeted amount, so we're doing really well for this time in the year. In terms of revenue, year to date, $2,125,109. February year to date, $104,815. And I'm going to say this because it speaks to Shan's meticulous nature. If anyone's interested, we earned $145 more this year than we did last year. That's the difference. And of course, we had some adjustments in renewal because last year was an LPN renewal year. In terms of cash, we currently have about $5.7 million in available cash, which is sufficient to meet all of our operational expenses until our next renewal cycle. You're heavily dependent, of course, on those revenue streams. So just a little bit, and Trey mentioned Senate Bill 1587, but the fiscal year 23 budget appropriations. We did receive an appropriation of $5,142,258 with 42 positions allotted for fiscal year 23. You may remember that we had 5 open positions. So we technically have 7 positions, and I wanted to present to the board and if there are questions about what those positions are. So at the top of the list is our lead counsel. We have that open and that is in process. The second priority would be our ONW director. Shan is doing that on Saturdays, Sundays, and between 1 and 4 in the morning. We have an administrative assistant position open. We also have an investigator position open. And then, of course, our support or associate counsel position. The 2 additional pins, one is for the, we're fairly certain that will go to the investigator dedicated to the medical marijuana changes. And then the other position, we don't have this documented, but we think that that's going to be for a full-time court reporter. So we're excited about that. We are waiting on the legislature to provide the amount that can be spent in salaries. So we are waiting to see if those salary requests that we've made are going to be included. And I think that, any questions about that? Those positions? The only other thing, and again, Sandra reported this with ONW on that MSTAR application. Those bids are out. They're due April 11th, so Monday. And there will be a committee established to review those bids as they come in, keep that process clean. And that's all I have. The finance committee met this morning and we bring this report forward as a motion for approval by the board.
Any questions? All in favor? Seven. ONW, you've already covered. All right.
Okay, I'll do that.
Move back up, get your picture.
Ms. Johnson said she was trying to dial in, but I don't see her on the Zoom, so I'll run through the, I'm so soft-spoken. I'll run through the,
Can you hear me? Is that better? Okay, great. Updates, we had Moden coming up March 31st. That was the attended in Vicksburg, at the NATI conference coming up April 21st at the Brandon Civic Center. That is going to be conflict with the MEC annual. So we are asking board members if you want to attend the MEC annual to help us fill those spaces at table 8, because a lot of the staff is going to be attending the NATI conference on the same day. We have an NCSBN IT conference, May 5th through the 6th, St. Petersburg, Florida. We have the NCSBN annual meeting coming up, and I think you want to go ahead. Ms. Johnson is up for president-elect voting, so those delegates are going to be important. And also, if you want to get in the host hotel, that conference fills up really fast. So as soon as you get the notice, go ahead and register for that conference. We have the APRN Roundtable, April 12th. That is an all virtual event. Board visibility, we have been very busy. Board visibility, as you can see, we've been very busy around the state. Alcorn presentation, UMMC conference, reducing health disparities. I won't go through all those, but the staff, along with Dr. Johnson, has been very busy around town and in other states. travel has picked back up. We have MEC Capital Day. DKG Women Educators Meeting, Dr. Burks at Colan. I want to make sure I got that right. We had the PN Statewide Planning Committee, Dr. Burks, MCB and Jan Collins, Missy Lane Hunter, myself attended that. It was a very good conference. CBC presentations by Mr. Dwayne Jameson, Dr. Burks, UMC, SON Legal Update, okay. APRN, Dr. Highfield and Stephanie Morris. Some other important things that were brought up in the executive committee. We do have the marijuana rules and regs coming out. They'll be delivered to you all as soon as the AG finishes reviewing. They're going to be sent to the board members for your input. We do need those voted on hopefully by the June board meeting because that's going to go into effect July 1. So those rules and regs will be sent out to you all hopefully next week. Another Trey Bobbinger touch bases on this, our confirmation. Miss Nancy Norris was confirmed. Going down the list, Jeremy Collins, Miss Jamie Clanton, sorry, Jeremy. Jamie Clanton. There's one more.
Alton was
Actually, two of them.
reappointed.
Alton and Melissa.
Me and Melissa.
Oh, I
Oh,
didn't know
and
that.
Lacey.
So
And
Alton,
Lacey.
Melissa, and Lacey. Yikes. So we had a lot of confirmations. So great work, Trey. So those confirmations were done at this past legislative session. And I think I covered everything that we discussed. Executive committee,
Quick question, the host hotel, do you know which one it is?
not yet.
Any questions?
We did have OLRC. We have those two bills out there that we're gonna have to discuss at some point, the monitor practice hours and MNVP. We did get those through OLRC and we do have the full 130 days. But TJ, you're the chair of that we're gonna have to bring those to you to see if we still want to continue with those two proposed bills.
Any potential date of a meeting for them?
Of the OLRC? Not yet, no, sir.
Any questions for Johnson substitute? All right, with that being said, we come down to the end for the nominating committee. Do you have any? I'm just kidding. So, who wants to be on nominating?
I've participated in the past and happy to help.
I would do it, but I don't know that I qualify. Will they let me? I don't think I qualify for nominating.
You can be on the nominating.
Well, I mean, just.
Basically, the nominating committee, it's in state law, so we have to continue to do it. This is a committee that was created years ago when organizations used to have a nominating committee that selected through the applicants and recommended one for the position. We've gone to a straight up and down vote. So you put your name in, you can put on the ballot, and you get voted in or not. But the committee still doesn't need to exist to accept the nominations from different people and make sure they're willing to serve. So,
I'm willing to serve for them. I don't know.
yeah, yes. So we got Sandra, DJ, Ms. Conner,
I will if y'all need me. I'd be happy to serve.
takes three. DJ.
So my only request would be to send me a formal email. If you're interested in that position, send it to us three. That way we have it. Typically, what we do is we take that, make sure that ask the member, yes, do you want to run for that office? And then we'll submit those 2 weeks prior to our June meeting to Miss Vanessa so that we get ballots created and then we formally vote at our June meeting.
And there is a consent form. I will email it to you today.
Okay. And just FYI, you can self-nominate.
Yes.
All right. There being no further business.
I have an announcement.
Okay.
And I was waiting on Dr. Johnson to get here, but I think that we need to recognize that she completed her requirements for her doctorate. She is officially Dr. Johnson, and her graduation is in May. And there's supposed to be a party. It should be a party. Privately paid for, of course.
Congratulations, Dr. Johnson.
Yes, that needs to go on the record. She did it. And
There being no further business, have a motion, we adjourn.
Awesome.
Have motion, Jan, second, TJ, all in favor.
All right.